Sophia was known far and wide for her breathtaking beauty. With her smooth skin, long hair, and graceful walk, people would often turn to admire her whenever she passed. Born into a very wealthy family, Sophia never knew what it meant to lack anything. Her parents gave her everything she wanted: designer clothes, the latest phones, and a large mansion with several maids at her service. Despite her beauty, Sophia had a terrible attitude. She spoke rudely to anyone who crossed her path, especially the maids who worked tirelessly for her family. She would shout at them for the smallest mistakes, accuse them of things they didn't do, and sack them without a second thought. None of the maids lasted long in the house because they couldn't tolerate her harsh treatment. Her mother, Mrs. Patricia, would often caution her, "Sophia, you need to treat people better. Money doesn't make you better than others." But Sophia would always wave her mother off. "Mummy, please, if they can't do their job well, they should go. I'm not here to babysit anyone." Even her father had given up trying to correct her. Sophia continued living in luxury and pride, thinking the world revolved around her. When Sophia got married to Daniel, a handsome and hard-working man, everyone hoped that she would change. Daniel was calm, respectful, and loved Sophia dearly. He thought he could help her become a better person with time. But marriage only made Sophia worse. She moved into a beautiful house with Daniel and hired new maids to take care of the house. She refused to do any house chores and complained about everything the maids did. "Why is this rice too soft? Can't you people cook ordinary rice? Who swept this floor? Look at the corners. Are you blind?" Every day a maid was being shouted at. She would change maids like clothes, sacking them every month. Daniel kept begging her to be kind. "Sophia, please be patient with people. They are trying. You can't keep treating everyone like they are your enemy." "Daniel, if you like them so much, why don't you marry them?" "I need people who can do the job, not lazy fools." Daniel sighed. He loved Sophia, but was growing tired of her disrespectful attitude. The home was always filled with noise and sadness. After several maids had come and gone, Sophia employed a new girl named Grace. She was calm, gentle, and always smiling. Grace did everything to Sophia's taste. Her food was delicious, the house was sparkling clean, and she never talked back. Sophia was finally pleased. "Now this is what I've been looking for. A maid that knows her work." Daniel also noticed the peace that came with Grace. He was happy that things were finally going smoothly at home. Grace became the most trusted person in the house. But something still troubled Sophia deeply. She had been married for 3 years without conceiving. She had tried everything, taken different herbs, and even changed her diet. Still, no baby. She and Daniel visited different hospitals, did all the necessary tests, and the results always came back fine. There was nothing medically wrong with them. Yet, every month came with disappointment. Sophia started getting restless and frustrated. Her rude attitude worsened, and she would take out her anger on anyone around her, especially Grace. Despite the way Sophia shouted at her sometimes, Grace remained calm and respectful. She would serve Sophia her tea every morning with a smile. But unknown to everyone, Grace was not just any maid. She was someone from Sophia's past. Years ago, when Grace worked in Sophia's parents' house, she was one of the maids Sophia had treated very badly and sacked unfairly. Sophia had accused her of stealing jewelry she never took and sent her away in shame. Grace never forgot the embarrassment and pain. Life had been very hard for her after that, but she survived. Now she had returned, not by accident, but with a hidden mission to make Sophia pay for the pain she caused. Every morning, Grace would secretly add a special liquid potion into Sophia's tea. The potion wasn't deadly, but it would slowly affect Sophia's body. Within weeks, Sophia began to feel strange pain in her legs. They would swell, and walking became difficult. Doctors were called. Tests were done, but nothing made sense. "We can't find the cause of the swelling," one doctor said. "Let's continue with treatment and see how it goes." Daniel grew more worried as his wife's condition worsened. He never suspected Grace. Sophia's legs became worse. The swelling refused to go down, and the pain became unbearable. She could no longer walk without help, and sometimes she would cry in the night from the pain. Daniel did everything he could. They went to different hospitals, tried both traditional and modern treatments, but nothing worked. Money, time, and strength were being spent every day. Sophia's once proud and boastful voice had become weak. She could barely speak without pain, and she depended completely on others for everything. Grace continued to serve her with a smiling face, bringing her tea every morning. Daniel would sometimes thank Grace for her help, not knowing she was the one behind his wife's pain. After 6 long months, the doctors finally gave a painful report. "I'm afraid, Mr. and Mrs. Daniels, we will need to amputate both legs to save her life. The infection is spreading, and this is the only way." Sophia screamed. Daniel broke down in tears. It was the hardest decision they ever had to make. In the end, they agreed. Sophia's 2 legs were amputated. The once proud lady who walked like a queen was now confined to a wheelchair. One early morning, a week after the surgery, Daniel walked into the kitchen to get some water. As he stepped in quietly, he saw Grace pouring something into Sophia's cup of tea. He froze. "Grace, what are you adding to her tea?" he asked sharply. Grace jumped in fear. She tried to hide the bottle, but Daniel grabbed it from her hand. "What is this?" Seeing that she had been caught, Grace dropped to her knees and began to cry. "I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to go this far. I just wanted her to feel what I felt." Daniel was confused. "What are you talking about?" Grace then confessed everything. How Sophia had falsely accused her of stealing years ago, how her life became hard after that, and how she planned to punish Sophia by making her useless and taking everything from her, including her husband. Daniel was shocked beyond words. He immediately called the police. Grace was arrested and charged. The news spread, and people were surprised by the depth of the betrayal. After Grace was taken away, Sophia cried bitterly. She had no words to express her pain. All her bad behavior had finally caught up with her. She looked at her legs, or what was left of them, and wept. She remembered all the maids she had treated badly, the lives she had destroyed with her pride and cruelty. "I'm sorry," she whispered every night. "I wish I could turn back the hands of time." Her husband stood by her, even in her weakest moments. He forgave her and kept encouraging her. Slowly, Sophia began to change. She became kind, gentle, and respectful. She would greet the nurses politely, say thank you to the cleaners, and show love to everyone around her. When she returned home, she didn't want to hire any new maid. She was scared. Her little cousin, Emily, came to stay with her and helped her with basic things. Months passed. One day Sophia woke up feeling strange. She felt weak, and her food didn't taste right. Daniel took her to the hospital, and after some tests, the doctor smiled and said, "Congratulations, Mrs. Daniels. You're pregnant." Tears rolled down her eyes. After all she had been through, a miracle had come. The news of the pregnancy brought hope and happiness back into Sophia's life. She was filled with joy, but also fear. Fear of losing the babies, fear of the unknown, and most of all, fear of not being good enough to be a mother. But Daniel held her hand and said, "You're different now, Sophia. You'll be a wonderful mom." Sophia smiled through her tears. The people who had once avoided her because of her pride began to draw closer again. Her neighbors were surprised by her humility. She greeted everyone with respect and apologized to those she had hurt in the past. Her parents came to visit often. Her mother hugged her one day and said, "You've changed, Sophia." "I'm so proud of you." Sophia whispered, "Mummy, I finally understand what you used to tell me. I wish I listened earlier." She spent most of her days indoors with Emily, her young cousin, who helped with cooking, cleaning, and keeping her company. Emily was cheerful, patient, and loved Sophia dearly. Sophia couldn't imagine hiring another maid after what she had gone through. The pregnancy journey wasn't easy. Sophia had to visit the hospital frequently for checkups. She couldn't walk, so Daniel and Emily made sure she was always taken care of. One afternoon, during a scan, the doctor gave them another surprise. "Mrs. Daniels, you're carrying triplets?" Daniel's eyes widened. Sophia burst into happy tears. "3? Are you sure?" "Yes, 2 girls and a boy." The doctor smiled. That day, Sophia felt like God had truly forgiven her. She named the babies in her heart Grace, Faith, and Michael. Grace, not for the maid, but for the unmerited favor she had received from above. Her condition was closely monitored. Daniel became more caring than ever. He helped her bathe, fed her, read books to her, and sang lullabies to the babies in her belly. Even people who once gossiped about her came around to offer help. They brought gifts, prayed for her, and said, "You've become a blessing to others, Sophia." The day finally came. Sophia was rushed to the hospital. The doctors were ready for the surgery. Daniel held her hand and whispered, "I love you. You've been so strong." With a deep breath, Sophia was wheeled into the theater. After hours of surgery, the cries of newborn babies filled the air. 3 healthy babies, 2 girls and 1 boy, were born. Daniel was overjoyed. He held the babies in his arms and thanked God. When Sophia regained consciousness, the nurse placed the babies beside her. She cried uncontrollably. "They are so beautiful," she whispered. "Thank you, Lord." As she looked at their tiny faces, memories of her old self flashed in her mind. The pride, the cruelty, the tears she caused, everything. But now her heart was soft, full of love. She kissed each child gently. "You're my second chance. I will raise you with love, kindness, and humility." Her life was no longer about pride or power. It was about love, family, and forgiveness. She named the girls Grace and Faith. The boy was named Michael. They were her light after a long darkness.